I thought Egypt would just be pyramids and sand, but turns out it's a whole other world, and I have to show you. So I had posted a few shots from my Egypt trip on YouTube, and so many of you said we need a full video. And I get it, because honestly there's no short answer to how was your Egypt trip. So, welcome to my YouTube journey. I am Ocean and you are watching Unseen Ocean, where we will unseen with food and see the unseen through travel. So let's unseen one story at a time. So we planned to go to Egypt around March 2025 and we started our planning and booking everything in January. For the first 2 weeks in January, we just researched and planned the itinerary and then booked our flight tickets around 3rd week of January. And then we got our visa in February. It was an e-visa, and I'll tell you about all the details later, but let's get started with the Egypt stories first. So we took a flight to Cairo from Bangalore, and it was a 4-hour 15 minutes flight from Bangalore to Sharjah, and then a 2-hour 20 minutes layover, and then another 4-hour 15 minutes flight to Cairo. If you're flying from India, you'll probably reach your hotel by afternoon. Book your seats on the left side of the window, because most likely you will be flying over the pyramids and can catch your first glimpse even before you land. My advice, don't plan anything on day 1. Check into your hotel, maybe take a stroll nearby and get a good night's sleep, because the real adventure starts on day 2. We had actually checked into a hotel in Giza with a view of the pyramids and watched the sunset paint them gold. We traveled to Egypt in the 2nd week of March, when the daytime temperature was around 24 to 26 degrees and the night it dipped to 13 to 15 degrees, perfect for sightseeing without melting in the sun. So on day 2, you start early at around 8 to 8:30 and then head to the pyramids straight away. So here we are at the Pyramids of Giza. You first have to buy an entry ticket, and mind you, cash is not accepted here. You only get to go inside if you have an international credit card. Nothing prepares you for how huge they are. The Great Pyramid of Khufu is 146 meters tall, and that's like a 45-story building built over 4,500 years ago. I mean, mesmerizing, right? Breathtaking, mesmerizing, spellbound, all the good words that you can think of. Each block weighs between 2 to 15 tons, and yet they stand perfectly aligned with the stars. Can you imagine? These limestone blocks were carried from Tura and Aswan, some transported over 800 kilometers, and exactly how they moved them here is still a mystery. It's believed the construction took around 20 years and involved around 100,000 workers. There are actually over 100 pyramids in Egypt.
Yes.
So behind me, what you see is the main pyramid. Out of the 9 pyramids, that's for the main king. And then at the back, what you see, the smaller pyramids, those are for the queens. So there's 3 main pyramids: one for the main king, one for the son, and second for the third for the grandson. And the smaller pyramids, the 6 other pyramids, the smaller ones, are for the queen. Don't ask me why smaller pyramids for the queens, even I don't know. We are going to the panoramic view where we can actually see the 3 main pyramids lined up. So wait for that. We skip going inside the pyramid. It's empty, very hot, and there's no mummy or treasure inside. But later that day, we did go inside the first pyramid ever built, and I'll take you there soon. From here, it's just a 2 to 3 minutes drive or a 15 minutes walk to one of the Egypt's most famous icons, the Great Sphinx of Giza. Carved from a single limestone block, it's about 73 meters long and 20 meters high. The face is believed to be of Khafre himself, though some historians still debate it. And then there's this most famous mystery, the missing nose. Popular legend blames Napoleon's cannons, but sketches made before his time already show it missing. Historical evidence suggests it was deliberately chiseled off, and some fragments, along with the Sphinx beard, now sits in foreign museums like British Museum in London and another museum in Paris, much like India's own treasures taken abroad. A quick tip, the Sphinx looks bigger in photos and than it actually is in real life, but standing in front of it still feels surreal. Our next stop was about a 40 minutes drive south of Giza, Saqqara, the ancient burial ground for Egypt's earliest pharaohs. While Giza gets all the global fame, Saqqara is where the pyramid building truly began. Standing here, you will see the step pyramid of Djoser rising from the desert, the world's very first pyramid built over 4,600 years ago by the brilliant architect Imhotep. Now, you might wonder why it's called a step pyramid. Before this, the royal tombs were flat-roofed rectangular structures called mastabas. Imhotep had this genius idea of stacking one mastaba on top of another, gradually reducing the size as they went up. The result? 6 tiers that look like a giant stone steps reaching for the sky. Later pyramids, like the ones at Giza, would smoothen out those steps into clean triangular sides, but here you can see the very first prototype of the idea. And yes, you can go inside the step pyramid. It's been restored and reopened to the visitors after decades of closure. Walking through the narrow passageways, the walls of limestone blocks that have stood for centuries, it's a surreal experience. Just remember, it's quite cramped inside, claustrophobic. You might want to skip it. But if you're not, it's really, really worth it, and there are no extra charges. Well, standing in front of the step pyramid, you realize you're not just looking at a monument, you're looking at the first blueprint for all the wonders that came after. So soak that in. From Saqqara, it's just a 15 minutes drive to Memphis, the ancient capital of Lower Egypt for over 3,000 years. I like how everything I talk about Egypt ends up in like 4,000, 3,000 years. But yeah, that's the beauty of the historical mystery. Today, there's no bustling city left here, but you will find an open-air museum that holds some jaw-dropping relics from Egypt's golden age. The star attraction is obviously the colossal statue of Ramses II. Even like massive limestone figure towers over you. If it was standing, it would be over 30 feet tall. The detail is astonishing. From the carved facial features to the perfectly proportional hands and feet, you can almost imagine the kind of presence Ramses II commanded in his lifetime. The museum also houses the alabaster Sphinx, blazing, and it was time to head back towards Cairo. Our minds buzzing with the realization that in just a few hours we had seen the very beginning of pyramid architecture, the grandeur of Egypt's ancient rulers, and the capital that set it all in motion. We started our morning at the Citadel of Cairo, a huge fortress sitting on top of a hill. Standing here, you can see almost all of Cairo spread out below. It's easy to understand why this spot was chosen. From the courtyard outside, you get amazing views of Cairo. On a clear day, you can even spot the pyramids far in the distance. Inside the Citadel, the most stunning sight is the Mosque of Muhammad Ali, also called the Alabaster Mosque because of its beautiful white walls. Built in the 1800s, it's inspired by the Ottoman style with big domes and tall minarets. The prayer hall is huge and peaceful with golden light coming in through the windows. And right next to the mosque is the National Military Museum. It shows Egypt's military history through the ages, from swords to armor to tanks and fighter planes. Walking inside feels like stepping back in time, with each hall telling a different part of the country's story. From the citadel, we headed to the National Museum of Egyptian Civilization. This place is like a walk through Egypt's entire history, starting from the very first settlements along the Nile all the way to the modern era. The galleries are beautifully done with artifacts, jewelry, pottery, and textiles that tell you how people here lived thousands of years ago. But the highlight and the reason most people come here is the Royal Mummies Hall. It's kept in a quiet, dimly lit space underground where around 20 mummies of ancient kings and queens rest in climate controlled cases. You can actually see the preserved faces, hands, and even hair of pharaohs who ruled more than 3,000 years ago. It's unbelievable and a little goosebump inducing to be face to face with history like that. We weren't allowed to take any photos inside the mummies section, and honestly that just makes you slow down and take it all in. But don't be disappointed, we did see the mummy of Tutankhamun in the Valley of Kings later in our trip, and photos were allowed there. I will be showing that to you a little later in the video. Right next to this museum is Textile Museum in the same complex, so if you have time, you must not give it a miss. After all that history, we headed to the lively Khan-e-khalili market, and trust me, it's a whole different kind of experience. This place has been here since the 14th century and today it's still packed with life. The market has everything that you can think of. Clothes, food, spices, shoes, lamps, perfumes, cafes, you name it. One funny thing, the moment people spot you are Indian, they are going to greet you with a big namaste, and without fail they'll call the men Shah Rukh Khan and the women Kareena Kapoor. This was just the start and it happened throughout our trip in Egypt. We wandered around picking some souvenirs like magnets, miniature pyramids, chocolates, t-shirts, and eventually ended up at the most famous Fishawy Café. Sitting there with a cup of mint tea surrounded by chatter and aroma of coffee and the glow of hanging lamps, we just soaked in the atmosphere, and it felt like the perfect way to end the day right in the beating heart of Cairo.